Hi, Anna. Good to see you.
Hello.
So this is my friend, and yeah, this is my friend Anna Kiesser. She and I were in the Tantric Way together in Ecuador in Vilcabamba last year, just a little less than a year ago now. And
Yes.
the last time I saw Anna, she and I were together in Costa Rica. I don't remember the exact moment, but Anna and I share a love for echo arts. And we were working with a friend of ours at a community called Tierra More to give Anna a kind of, what do they call it, canvas to do earth and arts
Yeah.
on with a crew of people. And I remember seeing the photos of it because I wasn't there when it got completed, but there were fetuses in the earth like seeds that were sprouting into plants. I thought it was such a, I just love that.
Mm,
Anyway, I wanted to say that that's the last time I saw you. Also, the last time I saw Anna, we were in a facilitator training together. She was assisting me, and we had such a
mm.
beautiful time helping people to learn how to support people to wake up. And I wanted to check in with Anna and see what she's doing these days. How are you, Anna? What are you up to?
Thank you. That was a really beautiful introduction. You hit like right on the juicy spots with the eco art. Yeah, how am I? I'm really good right now. There's a lot of things moving and shifting. I'm right now in Paris. I'm working on another art project, and I'm just preparing for my first women's retreat that's going to happen on Mallorca in 1 month, exactly 1 month in June. Yes. And yeah, I'm still kind of integrating a lot from like the time that we spent together in Costa Rica, where I was assisting you. And yeah, it's also that shift from like coming back, being in Costa Rica in the jungle and being in nature barefoot, and now being in the city. So shifting from these reality bubbles is always something that is challenging and also really inspiring, and just like baffles my mind how we're able to live in such different ways, and humans are so adaptable. Yeah.
You know, hearing you talk, I'm really reminded of something that I don't know seems really alive and fresh for me right now, which is I remember when we first started working together. I think you had adopted some idea that you were either going to be able to be a coach or an artist, or there you had to make this choice about who you got to be in the world, and like this kind of persona had to be defined as one or the other. And I really love watching you embrace, as I do, this ability to
Mm.
be multidimensional. This, like, yeah, you get to be the artist, you get to be the city girl, you get to be in Paris drinking wine and having your fanfare of posh elite events while at the same time being able to get gritty in the mud with the mud fairies. I think yeah, it's so
Yes.
alive for me.
Oh yes. Yeah, it's actually, now that you say that, I had this drop of realization when I was at your place in Nicaragua at Inanita. That was when I first, no, the second training with you, the facilitator training, and I was sculpting with Adobe, like with the mixture of earth and sand and straw and cow shit, and like, you know, the natural mixture, in one of your earth houses. And during the day we had the training, and there was deep processes, and there was you know, a lot of like human connections. And then in the evenings I was in the house, and I dove into the artist bubble. And yeah, and I just had this realization, like, wow, it fits together so perfectly. There's nothing about it that is like, I don't know, like controversial in a way.
Mhm.
um, and yeah, this really opened up, because I was living that every day basically for 1 month that I stayed there. And since then, these ideas grew and just developed into, like, yeah, the tantra and the earth and the art is just connected so much, and it totally makes sense. So yeah, you really helped me to have that understanding by just putting me into that place of like,
Yeah,
okay, you can be here and you can do both.
I really celebrate art, and I've never really taken the time out to give enough attention, or I don't want to judge myself, but I haven't just had that opportunity yet. And so when I saw that so alive in you, I was like, oh no, don't give it up, don't give it away. You know, it's such a gift to the world. And yeah, and I think many people get that idea that, I mean, it's old, you know, as women, we might have this experience of you can have a career or you can be a parent. I mean, as people, but I think women are given that story more than others. Or you can be an artist, or you can be a businesswoman. There's not a lot. I mean, a lot of people are doing it, but there's not a lot of talk about how multidimensional we can be.
Yeah,
you know, and all these things for you fit together. As you know, I don't. I've decided not to do gender specific work because I'm more concerned about, you know, how we're more the same than we are different. I'm a bit non-gender conventional, but in terms of women's work, you know, working with women, I had this notion that not only do you have this call to work with women, but this call to work with the earth, which is considered our mother, and then this call to work with the facilitation, which is a way of caring and transforming people. And I love the name of the work that you're choosing, which is Wild Wonder, you know? So I see you stepping into this kind of like totality. I see, you know, your passion is so alive. You're so comfortable in the erotic and in the juice. I remember in Costa Rica, we were leading, or you were leading, excuse me, I was sort of by your side, but you were leading these amazing conscious erotic connecting events, and you know, and trying to bridge all of this with the earth and with womanhood. Tell me more about how you guys are planning to do that. I know you're working with friends of yours in some of this work, and is art going to be a part of it?
Yes. So, well, there's two main projects that I'm super grateful that I'll be able to do that. And one of them is the retreat, as we mentioned, Wild Wonder. It's going to be a 6-day retreat for women. And I'm co-hosting that with my dear friend and colleague, Anna, who I met in one of your trainings, and we deeply connected and bonded. And basically, this work is about bringing together the grounding, the earthing, coming from the roots, and looking at like what is how we conditioned, what are the things that are blocking us from moving forward in life, especially for women. And and combining that with like working with the body, connecting to our life force energy, to erotic energy, and also breaking through certain like belief systems, or having the possibility to release emotions that we were carrying for a long time. And in that container, it's, for me, the importance is really to start doing that with women, because that was also really important for my own journey. That was something that I really needed for my own healing to move forward, with like a background of sexual abuse, and like a big part of myself that was like disconnected from my body, and that needed, or also body dysmorphia, or not, like just not feeling connected to my body, feeling ashamed about how I looked like also. And I needed time to just be with women, to be naked with women, also to see different bodies, and to come back to that, like what's normal, like how do we all look different and we're all the same at the same time. So I'm really passionate about creating a container for women where they can feel safe, to explore the differences and the sameness, and to empower each other. So that's one thing.
I'm just going to stop you really quickly. Yeah. Just to add, I'm excited about what you're doing, and I'm also excited for that to even be safe when both men and women are present. And you know, respecting your journey 100%, and respecting particularly, I grew up in an environment where nakedness was normalized, and I'm blessed for that, and I understand that that safety comes in different layers and in different ways for different people, but may we celebrate that we can all find that together and take the steps that we need to get there. I'll keep holding space for the men and women together. You get them ready for me, okay?
Perfect. Yeah, it's really that.
Yeah. And how are you going to what else are you doing in the other project?
Okay. Yeah, the other project is basically bringing together art, so working with eco art, just natural materials, and Tantra. So there's a project called Amor, and that is led by a friend of ours, by Matt. And so I started to collaborate with him. And as you mentioned before, I organized like one of the erotic game sensual nights where people can connect in a safe way and learn like different ways of how to communicate that we might avoid otherwise when we connect also sexually. And so there will be space for workshops around that topic, around Tantra, around the body, around communication, that I'll be hosting at Tierra More at his community space that he's developing and building right now. And then there's also the opportunity to build. So they are building eco-friendly houses right now. And some of it will be earth houses. And he asked me to collaborate and to bring some art into these spaces. So it will be collaborating with natural builders who are building the houses. And then I'll be coming in there and creating art for these living spaces. And this is also a place where it's all really like ideas that are just being formed. So it's very fresh and still moldable, and we'll see what it actually looks like when we get there. But the idea is also to have workshops where I'll combine the two. So there will be parts of...
I just want to be clear, when you talk about Tantra, you're really talking about sexuality. You're not talking about Tantric philosophy or Tantric ancient teachings. You're talking very much about conscious sexuality.
Well, I would say that for the workshops that I'll be leading there, it will be more focused on the little part in the whole big philosophy of Tantra that is connected to sexuality. But then talking about that is also the art project that I'm doing there. I want to combine that with Tantra as well, which is the different aspect of Tantra. And that there, the idea is to bring people together to have a group art project, a group sculpture project. And it will involve like mixing the materials together. So there's like mixing the cob is a really primal way, you're like getting into the earth, like stamping with your feet into the mixture and really blending all of these materials together. And by doing that, we put our energy into the earth that we use to create, and that is then in the space where people are living. So this energy is put in there. And I really would love to work with people on that level as well. So there can be
you're talking about a kind of eco Tantra, lovemaking with the earth, supporting people to reconnect with the earth, which is, it's always really important for me because the word Tantra has become so confused to really clarify what we're doing.
Exactly. I really appreciate that, because for me, when I first heard of Tantra, it was in connection with sex, and it doesn't have to be. So it's a part of it. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm excited. I remember I'm thinking about putting you with Gonzalo, who's a gentleman who works with me, together for the first time when we talked about, inviting you to Inanita to make, and God, I wish I had the pictures now, sculptures out of earth, and and I remember the juice that you had for it and the mud in your toes, and like watching your city girl come alive with the dirt was just like, I was like, yes, a woman who gets it. I love it. I love to create people who are passionate about transferring skill sets that they learned in the regular default world, if you will, and then bringing that, not needing to destroy the past to come to a new paradigm, but to actually integrate, this epic skill you have as an artist, and then to just like regrounded. And to watch what you're doing is like rocking my world. Like you and one of my other friends, I've heard you, you've heard me talk about another friend of mine, Becky, who's an amazing artist. I'm so happy to be behind you, ladies. And I want to see you fly, and I want more art in the world, because you know I love that too. Because we had this conversation in Costa Rica where I mentioned to you that, you know, ever since I was a teenager, I considered my life itself to be my art piece.
Yeah.
You know, like
that's amazing. Like you could come to this realization at that early.
That's it. I mean, that's it. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, I got put on this planet. Somebody gave us a paintbrush, so we each did, and we get to paint it into, and you know, so if I'm, like it, and also there's a call to responsibility, right? Because if I'm a painter of my own art piece and it looks kind of dull and drab, who can look for the red flame in the hair to add to it or whatever?
Yes.
And I saw you totally picked up on that one. Tell me your thoughts on that. How does that move in you?
For me, this is really like that just this expression or this way of finding words for it. It really hits me deeply. It's something where to explain how life works, like fucking get that paintbrush back in your hands and choose the colors and go for it. Like we never know what's going to happen the next point anyway. It's about trust and about being able to go into the unknown. And for me, that was actually also a really big part that I had to like recondition talking about art, because so I work in the film industry as a prosthetic makeup artist, and it's really about hyperrealism and about being super detailed, and like sometimes it really feels like playing God, like trying to copy nature as perfect as possible. And and there is something fascinating about it for sure when the sculpture or the silicon sculpture that I'm painting comes to life. Or I just recently made some eyes, and for me the eyes are the window to the soul, and it's super fucking hard to create hyper realistic eyes, at least from my point of view, ones that are really, really good. It feels nearly like something forbidden to do, because it is the window to the soul, you know. It's a deep thing. Anyway, so coming from that background, as an artist, I really also had to liberate myself from this perfectionism, from this like comparison to like, oh, is that even good enough? I might not even do that because someone else is better. Or there was a lot of conditioning around that, and I'm still working on it, because I'm switching back and forth between these different worlds of like, okay, I go to Nicaragua, to the jungle, and I'm smearing a mixture of earth and cow shit onto your wall, and it's going to make like this eco sculpture out of it, and it's all like in rhythm with nature, and it feels fucking awesome. And then I switch back into the film world, and it gets into the hyperrealism and into the details, and there's also like a big admiration for life and for how we are made. And it's a challenge. And the part that I wanted to talk about was the like trusting the unknown, that I really learned also through working with you, that it's to actually bring like my expression or my love and that what is inside of me into the art. I have to just trust that, and I have to step into the unknown and make big paint strokes and maybe go back and redefine them. But like it's there's this like reclaiming my freedom in that as well. Like, okay. Thank you.
It's okay. You remind me actually of something, because you asked me a question like in a type thing earlier about the erotic. That's erotic.
Yes.
This is eros. Like, I mean, we sexualize everything. Humans want to sexualize everything because it's so repressed. Tantra gets sexualized, the erotic gets sexualized, and there's nothing wrong with sex. But what's erotic is this juiciness. When I hear you like talk about painting big brushstrokes and this unknown, and you know, eros is beauty. Like the original Greek meaning is all about beauty.
Please give me your definition of the erotic, please. I would love to, because I think or not definition, but like just if you define it a bit more, because I think it's really important to
Well, I think
Also,
Eros is about beauty, and it's about erotic love is a kind of romantic love, but it's not just the romantic love that we might have with a person. It's
yeah,
the romantic love that we have with life. You know, we're talking about making love to the earth through the art, or having this exchange of the earth and I are like lovers, and we're making love together, and you and your art are lovers. And in making love, sure, we can have these rigid sexual practices that are very yogic, and that's one thing, but to really make passionate love with anything is to be in the unknown together, right?
yeah,
Responding and
yeah,
exploring beauty and pleasure and how they come alive in the moment, moving towards that beauty and that pleasure and away from that which is not. Now, of course, the
yeah,
trap of the erotic is to get stuck there, right? That's where it gets addictive. This is, but I would say, yeah,
yeah. When
this is
it
beauty and
gets more into
passion.
the direction of like of lust or of yeah, when it gets more, when you get stuck there. But
Love
then
it.
like a,
Hungry ghosty.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
And the other thing that really connects for me with the erotic is curiosity, and also that's something that I became so much more aware of, how much more freedom and like ways to express myself I gain when I'm curious. And this
Mm-hmm.
is about working with people, creating art, whatever it is. But if there's curiosity, because before I started this path, or before I met you as well, I found myself stuck quite often with this, like, okay, so how do I feel more in my body, or how do I, like, what kind of practices I have to do to feel more sexual energy or to connect with another person more. And it was more about kind of like yeah, like
Mental.
a yoga practice, like, okay, breathe in and pull up your sexual muscles, breathe out. And of course you can move life force energy and all of that through these practices. But one of the things that I kind of always missed out are that all these little things that are everywhere in our everyday life and that are connected to curiosity, and like, yeah, the ways how we meet each other, how we are curious about each other.
Yeah, curiosity is so key. Whenever I get lost, I try to remember to come back to being curious. It's that innocence,
Yeah,
that childhood, because that also tends to make my ego like a little bit. I mean, I need the ego, but when I'm curious, my ego is much more open,
yeah,
uh,
mm-hmm.
and also alive, right? Like,
Yeah,
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 one of the things I appreciate about you, and I see so strongly in the mirror of you, is aliveness. Yeah, I love that. I see that in both of us, and in you, like as a reflection from
mm,
to remember my aliveness too. So I'm
yeah,
eternally grateful for that, and your your spirit. Maybe it's the spirit of an artist, but the spirit of the child that's still very alive in you. No
thank you
matter
so much.
how,
Oh,
you
God.
know, no matter how successful and how serious and how, you know, and how Paris world class you are, there's still this 5-year-old little girl that I love to just hang out with, and I'm grateful for.
Yes, I
Well, we've
find it
covered
also
a lot of
incredibly.
territory. I don't know how
Yes, we
long we've
did.
actually been here.
I just wanted to say I
But you
find
find it
it super
incredibly what?
inspiring to meet someone like you, who is, yeah, like living that. Because there's often this like assumption or whatever, like, oh yeah, and at some point you just calm down and you do this and that and whatever. Um, yeah, and I just like you're you're still fucking rocking it on all the levels, and I hope I'll be like this when I'm your age. Yeah, this inspires me. It's like, oh, it works. Kind of using these different tools and methods and ways of being, and get to be like this. Wow, fuck yes.
I'm glad I could serve you in that way. I couldn't be any other way, except my raw innocent self as well. And I pray that we can all find that for ourselves.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's find a nice way to end. I'm gonna just celebrate you. I want to celebrate you again, Anna, and
Thank you.
what a dynamo of a woman you are. I'm grateful to have been a part of your journey, honored to have been a part of your journey, and excited to watch you blossom more and more, and I hope to be a part of it.
Thank you so much. Yes, I feel blessed that I had so many openings and realizations on this path, and with you as well. It's a really, really beautiful bond created, and I'm super excited to nourish that in the future as well. Yes.
I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Mwah, mwah. I'll talk to you soon. Ciao.
Yes. Ciao, Bella.